Hello, I just wanted to share a few things that I've learned about conflict resolution, specifically peace in conflict resolution. To start, I just wanted to define conflict for our purposes today. Conflict can mean many things, but in specific, what I'm referring to is when there's like a conflict of a scheduling conflict or a conflict of opinion or conflict, ethical conflict, different things. There's conflicting, so two things that they can't both happen. We both want the same parking spot, we can't both park in it. I want to call my neighbor a mean name and they don't like it. Okay, so there's a conflict there. Or my wife wants to go to the beach for vacation, I want to go to the mountains. Anyway, that's conflict. We're not referring, and in this case, we're not referring necessarily to a fight or anything. Not like a conflict other than almost a war that's going on where there's fighting going on. But when there's two things happening that can't both happen, or people want two things to happen and they can't happen. The other thing I want to define is contention. So contention, as opposed to a conflict where it's just almost mechanically these two things can't happen. They can't both fit in the both space, or you can't do what I want and you can't do what you want and I do what I want because there's only one hamburger and we both want to eat a hamburger, for example. Contention is the act of working against someone. Okay, so if I call someone a mean name, that's not because there's a conflict. I mean, there could be a conflict behind it, but that's not a conflict. That's just working against that person, saying something mean to them. Or if I punch someone, again, that's just working against them. It's not the fact that I don't like what they said. That wasn't the punch. The punch was the fighting afterwards. Okay, so fighting against someone, working against someone, it's against the person, not just the conflict we're trying to resolve, the thing that doesn't work together. So I want to describe three steps, three basic parts of resolving a conflict. Okay, the first step is you need information. So, for example, my coworker and I both want the same office space at work. Well, there's a conflict. We can't both fit in there, or maybe we can, but we don't want to both be in there at the same time. And so what information could there be? Well, why do they want that office space? Why do I want the office space? Why do they want it? What is it about that office space that's appealing? Maybe all this information isn't necessary, but it could be. What are they willing to give up to have the office space, or what would they take in exchange? Or sometimes information that has nothing to do with the office space, like what's going on in their life in general, and those different things. So that would be helpful information. Maybe also who's been at the business for longer, or different things like that, or what their job description is and things. So that's the first part, information. The next part is creating solutions. So sometimes there seems like a quick solution. Okay, whoever has more time at the office gets the office space. Or whoever, okay, both share the office space. They're different things. Those sound really simple, but sometimes there's other things like, all right, well, what if you get the office space and in exchange I get the parking spot that I want? Or maybe it's we put in a wall for a couple $100 that'll make another office space that we like just as much. Or maybe one office is cold, that's why the person doesn't want it. We can put in a space heater and make it. So think of solutions. Sometimes adding more things to the problem gives you more ability to move around with it. So that's important. Going back to information, a lot of time there's communication in information. You ask why, when, where, those things. But if the other person isn't able to communicate or doesn't want to communicate, you can take context clues and try to figure out, why they're doing something. Someone took my parking space that's close to the door. Why would they do that? Well, they have a brace on their foot, so I don't have to ask them necessarily to get some clue why they want that close parking spot. All right, so we have information, and you think of ideas, the problem solving, to think of different solutions that could work with the information that we have. What are people's needs? So how can we create a solution that meets people's needs fairly well? And the third part is just solving the problem, just going forward with the idea that you have. It's normally fairly simple. So once we decide, okay, we're going to put in another wall so they're the different office space that I like just as well at work, then you do it. Now, the issue can be that there's you may have, okay, that's a reasonable idea, I don't want to do it because I'm mad at you or whatever. So this, so anyway, solving the problem, getting it figured out at the end, not normally a big issue, but this often where the problem is, people, they don't want to go any further. They're not going to put up with it, and they're not going to back down, and so they don't solve the problem. So what do? Well, the problem here is not the conflict anymore. I mean, there is a conflict still because we didn't fix it, but it's not that we don't know how to. It's just choosing not to. So why would they choose not to fix it? Again, that's contention. Contentions of fighting against each other. And that is often the biggest problem with resolving conflicts. It's not that we can't think of solutions. It's not that we're not smart enough to problem solve. For example, my coworker takes my parking spot that's closest to the door at work. I'm mad about it, okay? But if my grandma came and she parked in that closest parking spot, how would I feel about it? I would probably be like, oh, of course grandma needs it because I know that, she's older, she wants a spot. I love her, she can have the spot. So the antidote, Russell M. Nelson said, the antidote to contention is charity or compassion. So if we care about people, then finding the solutions makes sense. We have the motivation to get it figured out and get it done. And with that charity, then we can use those skills of conflict resolution, which again, most of them are pretty simple. If we care about someone, if we have compassion for them, for charity for them, then it will happen. But if we don't, with contempt or we just don't have respect for them and things like that, then we won't figure it out. And even if we figure out an idea, we may not want to do it because we're mad at them, even if it's going to hurt us too. So it's a little bit about conflict resolution, and the biggest hang-up being contention, and resolving that is charity. Now, there are the few ways you may ask, okay, well, I don't like the person, so that doesn't work. There are the few ways to build charity that I've found. One is for people of believing God, praying for someone to have charity for them is one thing you can do. Another is working and playing alongside people. You go, work with someone, then you can have more charity for them. Or if you're helping someone, it's easier to feel charity for them. Not because you have to, but you choose to. Working alongside or for them, helping them, serving them, that builds charity. And so in workplaces and families and different things, the best way that I found to create more compassion or charity is to find ways to work together, to help each other, to serve each other, that will build charity or compassion for each other, and then other problem-solving skills will fall into place in a peaceful way, even when they're hard things. If it's my graduation or whatever things there could be, someone's wedding, a scheduling conflict between a wedding and maybe someone else's wedding, or different things that can be hard. They can be worked out if you want to help that person. And that's what I have today.